Welcome to the January meeting of the Commission on Aging. Happy 2025, everybody. Thanks for everybody making it with a quorum. Allie can't be here, but Cynthia has taken her spot for Human Services. Thanks for being here. Awesome. And so we'll rock and roll. First issue is our discussion of our December minutes. Questions, changes? Peter?
I have a number of them again, Joe.
Sure.
And I'll give them to you and give them to the recording secretary.
Perfect.
With just one other brief general comment about the minutes themselves.
Sure.
On the right in the front, at the first, there's a typo here, at home in Darien, for example. So there are a couple of really simple grammatical things. Does anybody proofread this before the secretary submits it?
I don't know that. All I know is I get what the secretary submits and turn it around. So obviously if I start editing the minutes, it gets a little weird for your chair to edit the minutes. So the reality is it is what it is. I think she's in West Virginia doing this via video. So at the end of the day, she's been great. You may recall our previous secretary wasn't even that good. No offense to if she's still listening, but at the end of the day, it was not nearly as detailed as our current secretary. So I think we just have to live with the grammatical errors, and we'll make a note. Hey, listen, it would be nice to have a second proofreading.
Yeah, good.
Next question for the commission, though. Are we ready for this? Okay, it's kind of a weird one, but I'll throw it out there. Do people want me to edit for grammar, or is that violate all kinds of rules of Robert's Rules of Evidence or Robert's Rules of Procedure?
I don't think it's necessary, really.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to leave them as is. You're going to get them straight up, and we'll go from there. Okay, cool? Awesome. So, but do you want to make any notes as to what these say, like in general, so we can approve your modifications?
Again, they're more labeling about SWACA, for example.
Okay.
Southwestern Connecticut Agency on Aging.
Okay.
Minor changes.
Minor changes, okay, so
For clarity.
with minor changes made by Peter, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from December? Thank you, Susan. Second, thank you very much. All in favor? Appreciate it, great.
One abstention, I wasn't here.
One abstention, thank you so much, appreciate that, Jim.
I wasn't here either.
Okay,
Excuse
thank
me.
you, Mary. No, we're good, but I'm glad you're here this month because we desperately needed you for a quorum, so good work, everybody, that's great. Awesome. Heading over to Beth for her Mather Center report.
I don't normally get to talk about the month that we're in based on the fact that generally, I don't know where the next week, but because of the way January fell. So I just want to let you know on Thursday, January 23rd, Sean Scanlon, the state comptroller, is coming to talk about the prescription card that the state of Connecticut is promoting. And I found out yesterday from his secretary, he invited legislators too, and our first selectman is going to introduce him. So if anybody's interested in coming to that, it's at 12:30. Not just because of that, but if you've never heard of the state prescription card plan, and that there is actually one that you can use in conjunction with your insurance, especially for some medications that are incredibly expensive, you might want to come to hear right directly from him. There's going to be paperwork that's handed out as well that people can take. Also on the 27th, well, the 24th is a legislative breakfast. They did change the legislative breakfast to the 24th because there was some conflict with the Chamber of Commerce meeting. I understand 12 legislators are coming. They're expecting, we're setting up for 120 people. Again, it really is for people that are providing care and service for seniors, senior center directors, people from Commission on Aging, home care agencies. Is all for them to be able to present their concerns, especially monetary concerns, to the new, especially the new legislators. That's from 9 to 11 on Friday the 24th. On the 27th, Monday, Eversource is coming, a representative yet to be named. Someone told me I should probably have police there, but it's Let's Talk Energy. So it's going to be an opportunity for people to talk about what's going on with energy bills and that kind of thing, and what's going on in Connecticut in general with PURA, our utilities regulation authority, who's going to come next month, believe it, in February. We didn't have them the same month. We knew that would be a problem. We also have on the 28th, on a Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30, a physical therapist is coming from Collins Medical. There is a complimentary lunch associated with that for 25 people. We do it as a lottery now, so the same 25 people don't get the free lunch. It's first time Bob's coming to us. He's doing a program that's interactive, but also an assessment program for balance and strength, which is going to go very well. Matter of Balance, we were chosen again by Fairfield University to run the program for 8 weeks. It starts on February 4th. There's still some openings. It is a time commitment. It's an 8-week program. It goes from 9:30 to 11:30. Not consecutive Tuesdays because the girls are off sometime from school, but it is a master degree registered nurse candidates from Fairfield University who are doing the program. It's a state-funded program. It's done through a grant at this point, so there's some paperwork our folks have to do, but it's well worth it. It's an excellent, excellent program. It always ends up with a waiting list. And then to end that week, at the end of the next week, we're going to have another entertainment. Steve Allison is going to sing for a winter day. And he's always wonderful. I always say Steve can sing the telephone book. There's no song he doesn't know, and he's really entertaining, and we're hoping that, like I said, that like the weather gods stay with us. The February newsletter is about to be done, a little behind because I dared to take some time off. It should be out, I'm hoping, on Friday and online, and it's chock full, so for people to really look it up. Remember that you can come in to get the newsletter. We don't mail it. But if you're on your computer, you can see it right there, and there are people that are printing it as well, but there's a lot of great offerings happening. And good news, we have hired a gal who accepted the position, thank you, God in the heavens, as activity assistant, and she will be starting on January the 27th. And we may even have a second building attendant, we're waiting on that, hasn't accepted it yet. So we will be full staffed for the first time in I think 2 years. So I'm really looking forward to that. The gal's very, very capable and wants a part-time job. And that's always the issue now is folks sometimes come in and then they want full-time positions and it's, it's hard if you need it. But this gal really wants a part-time job and she's very, very capable. So we're excited. Very young lady. So.
Tip of the cap to you guys for carrying that load while you searched, and I know it's been ongoing issues there, so nice work.
Well, when we do our I'm up for the quarterly report. Our first selectman, Zagrodsky, does it differently. We don't speak every quarter, and senior programs is on for this quarter, and that's exactly what I put as a highlight to hats off to the staff for an incredible period of time. Really running programs. Somebody came yesterday from Westport. Westport is the creme de la creme. And she said to me, the Westport Senior Center is a free country club. And that's the way that she was describing it. But they have 9 full-time staff.
Wow.
And we do pretty darn good with 2 full-time staff and our 4 part-timers, I have to tell you, in terms of the programming that we present and what we offer, the varied programs and services that we offer. So Darien's got a lot to be proud about, but if they ever want to hire another full-time person, that would be great too.
I wonder if anybody in Westport's looking for a job.
Yeah. And we all know each other well. So,
There you go.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a nice description. But she's right. But if you have all that staff, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we're growing. We're growing and growing and growing. Matter of fact, we actually struggled a little bit on Tuesday because we had so many things going on at one time, because we're going to do a volunteer recruitment again, and we had no volunteer on the desk, and between Liz and I, we were both part of the program. So I was actually presenting a program, she was assisting with a program, we had another program going on, and we can't both be in the lobby at the same time. So a little bit logistics statistics were lost, everything, and then we had to go from room to room to room. So our volunteers, if you're looking for something to do in terms of our information desk, we need that second shift again, which would be 12:30 to like 2, to really help us on that information desk. People do not realize how important that desk is. And I'd like to have 2 people even in the morning instead of 1 person, because it's getting overwhelming for the 1 person on the desk. So if you don't think our volunteers are mighty and necessary and working hard they are too.
Well, here we
So
are on
gotta give it
TV
to them, too.
79, so somebody out there is
Yes.
watching this right now,
Yeah.
and they've got time between 12:30 and 2 and want to feel really good about themselves in 2025, meeting really cool people, this is the opportunity. So Beth, what's the phone number they should call?
They should call 203-656-7090.
Okay,
Yeah.
dialer, people are standing by, waiting for that call, so
Yes.
call right
Yes.
now.
Absolutely.
Okay, and
Absolutely.
we'll get you a great volunteer opportunity. And
You won't be bored.
You will not be bored, meet amazing people, it's
Yeah.
a good thing. Great, thank you. Questions for Beth? Hearing none. Cynthia is taking the spot for Ally today. Thanks for being here on behalf of Human Services. Your report.
Good morning, everyone. We had 55 seniors and 46 families adopted in our holiday program by generous members of the community. We are so appreciative of this program. This program really helps make the holidays extra special for our families and seniors. So thank you to anybody who adopted a family or senior last year. We gladly appreciate it. We have a new program starting. We're going to have a new training here in Town Hall. Allie and Paula, the public health nurse, became QPR certified instructors. QPR stands for Question, Persuade, Refer, and it's a 90-minute suicide prevention training. So after this training, someone will be able to recognize a crisis and also the warning signs that someone may be contemplating suicide. So the first training will be here in Town Hall on February 13th, and it's open to any Darien resident or anyone serving the Darien community. We're continuing to accept applications for energy assistance. Income limits do apply. And our loan closet continues to be a great resource. So please keep us in mind the next time you're in need of medical equipment. And Human Services continues to maintain the emergency call list with a list of vulnerable seniors and individuals in the community. We've lucked out with the weather, but things could change. So please keep us in mind for that too, if you know of anyone that could benefit from being on our list. Thank you.
Awesome. Questions? Hearing none, thank you, Cynthia, appreciate it.
One more thing, I have a flyer on the QPR, so if anyone
Nice.
wants to. take a
Awesome.
look.
Thank you. Great, thank you very much. Over to old business. Chris, what you got for us?
Well, start of the new year, we had some changes with the board. We've got a new board president, Debbie Parnon, and we have actually our first board meeting today, and very aggressive schedule and plans for some new initiatives. One in particular I think is really germane for this group is, as we heard last meeting with Joe, some of the falls that were occurring in Darien with seniors, and I think I mentioned we probably had 4 or 5 seniors who've fallen, broken ribs, number of other things. So the organization had previously partnered with somebody to provide home safety inspections, and it's really evident that that agency doesn't do it anymore. At Home in Darien had sponsored the cost, but it's clear that that's needed and would be a big opportunity. So we're, right now, we're testing something, but we're going to go down that path. And so I welcome any input from the commission in terms of structuring that. We can do it ourselves, we can outsource it, or some type of collaborative partnership. But I think it would be important for this group to be involved and certainly updated, which I will do. And that's one of the important initiatives moving forward. And there are a couple of other things, but I think I'll save that for the next meeting, because again, today is going to be a very interesting meeting as we lay out what we're going to do moving forward. And the one structural change also is, well, we've got 2 new board members, we've got 3 board members who went off, but we're moving from 7 meetings a year to 12 meetings. So it's going to be a very, very active year, and I'll look forward to keeping you all updated.
That's great, thank you. Questions for Chris? Hearing none. I was, one of our best board members is Sue, in that she keeps on top of these housing issues, and there's some news relating to housing. What you got for us?
Well, I was in touch with the Imagineers, which is the management agency for the Royal, which is our senior housing, just to check up on where things were. They did open up the application list November 1st, but then they closed it at the end of November last year. And this is the, I'll just read you the email that I got from Sheila DeCiso, who is in charge of the Imagineer program. She said, "Hi Sue, yes, there are a couple of units that have opened up at the Royal, all in the 60% category. The waiting list was opened on November 1st and closed on November 30th for the 60% units. Applicants are contacted," I had asked her what was the procedure and how is this working along. "Contacted based on the date and the time of the application, and the property manager for the Royal, who is newly hired, they just changed property managers, Mary Lou Velez Rodriguez, is the person reviewing the applicants. Mary Lou has 20 years of tax credit experience and is very familiar with the selection process. Our compliance manager, Melanie Grenier, oversees the process to make sure everything is in compliance for the property." So I do happen to know from other residents that at least 2 units were freed up, so there probably are at least 3 or 4 that have changed over. So people should be aware that these are available, and stay in touch. I want Imagineers to know that we're watching and want to see that this is all done properly.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Great. Appreciate it. I'm guessing, Peter, you've got something for AARP and/or the legislature?
I do.
Go
Actually, but let's start off with tax aid. Joe, I left, again, 2 pieces of paper
Great.
there. Tax aid kicks off the end of this month. There's 2 sheets here. One covers Darien and neighboring areas. We start the week of the 27th of January at the Darien Library. The Weed Branch starts the first day in February, and the first Saturday. And last year, the Darien Library did 1,678 returns, which is a tremendous number. Again, if somebody's out there looking for things to do, one of the things that we really could use is another greeter, intake specialist at the tax aid program. It's simple training, and it's really helpful. In other words, in those places where you have people walking in and appointments, to balance that schedule, it's really important, and it really expedites returns. So again, you could get a hold of the Darien Library, and they can connect somebody up with that.
Cool.
So that starts. And this year, there's 2 sites in New Canaan, I might add. So there's going to be one at the New Canaan Library, and then there's going to be a second one at the New Canaan Community Center, the Lapham Center in Waveney Park. So there'll be two different days. Joe, I will send you a link soon to the just finished 3-year state plan of balancing, working toward real choices on long-term services and support. This is a report that's mandated by the state, covers 3 years, and looks at all the long-term services and supports. I was a policy fellow on this, which meant I spent a lot of time reading a lot of paperwork. It's out. I want to just give you the 3 highlights. It's going to push on measuring the effectiveness of adult family living and explore programs that will expand to spouses, support programs for spouses. Continue supporting and expanding some funding for the Community Ombudsman Program, which again is effective but very thin. And then the third thing is explore the capacity of community agencies in implementing oral health literacy training programs and oral health programs. There's a real shortage, as you can imagine, of folks providing oral health support and services for seniors, and it's never really had any place on the radar, but it does now. So that's coming. As I said, the legislature, I think, is probably having it this week. And once it's finalized, I'll send you and you folks can look at it or put it underneath your computer to prop it up.
I'm sure it's thick, there's no doubt about that.
A lot of my time was spent getting the redundancies out, and probably somewhat
So
successful.
you saved us some reading, appreciate that, yes.
Beth mentioned Eversource, something really brewing right now, where the state legislature is incensed at Eversource because they were intimidating one of our state senators. And there's an article in this state paper where they've taken a public position on it. In other words, they were essentially telling one of the senators that, hey, if you give us a problem, the service might go down. It's a real issue. And again, the importance for us is Tracy Mara has been appointed to the Energy Commission as the ranking minority person, so she's going to be very involved in this. Their issues are much broader, of course, nuclear energy, wind power, things like that, but they have to deal with some of these issues. They realize how contentious it's becoming, and it has to be addressed. Beth mentioned the legislative breakfast, and we're going to be covering 7 towns. It goes from Easton, which is our smallest town, probably with a population of about 17,000, to Stanford with a population of 136,000. I think it's going to be important because it hasn't been done in quite a while. So again, if you can attend at all, it really would be good if you could make your presence felt.
Yeah. Again, that's next Friday,
That's next Friday.
24th, from 9 to 11.
Right. Yeah. Last night in this very room, there were about 24 of us. Tracy Mara and Tom O'Day, our 2 representatives who happen to be Republicans, as you know, spent an hour and a half kind of talking about the legislative issues the way the Republicans see it. And it's interesting that of the many pages, the very first thing is aging in place. But it's because it's alphabetical. But at least it's there.
Hey, love having aging being an A, that's for
So
sure.
maybe people will read it. And finally, I had a call on Monday from Senator Duff. And Senator Duff does not usually call me, he's usually hiding from me. No, I shouldn't say that. He called to tell me about Senate Bill 513. And he said, I believe that I first heard this from you some time ago. And he said, we talked about it and we think it makes a lot of sense, and so we're going to put it out there. And Chris, this will be really interesting for you. It's a bill that will make grocery stores apply digital coupons to seniors.
Nice.
Because they took a look at it and they saw what a barrier it is with the chain stores. I know you did some work on that, and they said that it really is. And so he said to me, would you be willing to talk to a reporter or two if they need to talk to him? I said, sure.
Totally.
But so, this is a very good example of one thing that we have. It percolates up. We think it's important. We talk to somebody. We get their attention. We occasionally remind them. And you know what? It comes to fruition. It's a small thing, but it's an important thing. And again, it's going to save a lot of people money and a lot of people aggravation.
I'll give you a quick story on that. It was crazy. This was Sunday after church. Okay, now you're going to call me on this, but I always still call it the Grand Union. What is it now in the Good Wife Shopping Center? Oh, it's not even named that anymore. Stop and Shop. There you go. And it's not even the Good Wife Shopping Center anymore. I'm showing my age. Okay, so we're checking out, and my wife has a new cell phone, okay, which hasn't downloaded their app, okay? And so I have gotten, which I loved, the 24-pack of Coke Zero, okay, which has $1 off, okay, with a digital coupon, okay, which would normally be fine because any cell phone will, and we get it, right? Well, because her cell phone wasn't updated, okay, we couldn't get that $1 off. But here's where the story got interesting. The checker who was checking us out says, I'm so sorry. I used to be able to give people these coupons, but corporate has come down and say no more sharing of coupons for anybody, okay? And straight up, right there in your face, which was, if you're not accessing technology, we don't give a damn about you. We want to track your stuff, okay? We want to know that Pankowski loves 24 Coke Zeros, okay, right? Or whatever else the Pankowskis are buying, okay? So this bill is critical because, and I'd love to see whatever age they want to bring it down to. 55 would be good, 60 would be good, okay? Because it's slimy as all get out, right? It's basically like, we're selling your information, and we're not going to give you discounts unless you use our digital product, okay? And now they've told even the nice lady who's worked there for some time, you can't give these coupons to people like you used to, who clearly don't have either the technology or the ability to use this technology, hello, who is in that situation. So this is real, and it really costs our seniors because these corporations are slime buckets. So there you go, Stop and Shop, there's your advertisement. But in any event, you know, I encourage Stop and Shop as a corporation to reconsider this kind of thing. And I would certainly hope this bill passes, at least for our seniors. Because of course it's not just the seniors, it's just regular people who, you know, aren't digitally, you know,
Savvy, yeah.
savvy, good word, okay? And so it's just bad. It's just, I mean, if you track all the people you want, there are plenty of millennials and Zoomers you can track, and we're dying off anyway. So, but at least give the people who are, you know, who are not raised in a technological era that kind of break, right? It's crazy. So, anyway.
Which is what Stop and Shop and ShopRite committed to do when we had gone to them, you know, last year to
Yeah.
talk to them about this.
Yeah.
But obviously corporate has stepped in and,
Correct.
geez.
Yes.
And what's the bill number on that again?
513, Senate Bill 513, yeah.
So, Peter, let us know whatever we can
I
do
will.
to push this bill, because I think that can be a major priority for us for the state this year. And it certainly is the one that could do the most good for people in Darien across the state, and it's just drives me crazy.
One last thing, I'm meeting with Matt Blumenthal tomorrow on absentee ballot and early voting. While that has passed the legislature, the details and the structures are still to be ironed out. And there are some that might want to look at how could they constrain it. And we don't want that, and we want it going forward. I mean, again, we may want to change how many, they may want to change how many early voting days there are, but certainly not to change the structure. It's been approved, we voted on it, and we want to make sure there's no erosion of that
Good.
underneath. A big thing for AARP. It's very interesting because the retort I've heard was, well, it didn't increase voting, which is really interesting. It did not increase the total number of votes in the state. And I said, well, there could be other factors for that. The fact that it's the first time we've done it, the second time it's perhaps the political climate, whatever it was, but.
And the early voting.
Right.
The early voting was a huge factor, right? In other words, there's lots of people, now that you have this extra time to vote, would show up right here in this room 119 and vote, who might have previously voted absentee.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure you'll hold their feet to the fire.
it goes on.
Yes, it does. That is for sure. Anything else?
That'll do it.
Great, thank you, Peter. Other old business? Hearing none. Any new business? Yes, sir.
Joe, we never had our visit from Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I've been after them, okay, and it's a deferral. So I will, don't worry, I'm on top. I'd love to have her come and visit with us, and
Because
so.
again, beach time is coming, and again,
Correct.
there's an even simpler solution than this.
Yes.
That we should be addressing.
I will hopefully have her come. I don't think it'll be the February meeting, but maybe the March meeting. Speaking of the February meeting, remember, we're not actually in this room due to President's Week, and they're using it for the kids during President's Week. So my recollection is, I'll have to check it, but it's going to be where the first selectmen meet in that room next to the probate court on the second floor.
206.
206.
But
Thank
you'll
you.
let us know when you send out the next.
Yeah, correct,
agenda.
precisely. I'll make sure we confirm that, but I think it's on our calendar, but I did not catch it for this agenda, so that's one mistake on me, right? So I'd forgotten that February would have that President's Week glitch. So, other new business? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the January meeting of the Commission? Thank you, Peter, second, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thanks, everybody, we will see you in February.
Look, that's-
Absolutely.
Thanks.